Do you find that trophy right there behind me to be offensive? Well, a couple of videos ago, a commenter had said that the naked man on my desk was offensive. Well, first off, it's not a naked man. Well, it is a man, and he's not totally naked. And this is a trophy that reminds me of when I won my pro card as a natural bodybuilder. So this is the actual trophy that I won. So this trophy actually represents to me the connection between fitness and farming, and as a token of the hard work that I put into it. So if you find it to be offensive, let me know. I try not to be offensive in any of our vlogs. So if you find it offensive, maybe I just won't display it in the video. But let me know in the comment section below. Well, this time of year is one of two times of year that are the hardest times for me with homesteading. The first hardest time is end of January, February, when it's just so cold outside. It's hard to do anything, and then you have to go outside and bring in firewood, and it's just like, it's hard to do anything just because it's so cold. But at this time of year, it's so hot, it's hard to do anything too. But in February, in spite of all the cold, you actually need to start doing things for preparation for spring. And then this time, it's hot, but you actually need to do things for preparation for fall and then winter. So here recently, I started prepping for fall. And as I'm outside doing different things, preparing for fall, one of the things that I have to deal with at this time of year are the cicadas. And I know some people like the sound of cicadas. I don't mind the sounds of crickets and frogs, but it's something about the cicadas that just, I don't know, it just kind of drives me crazy. So that noise really gets to me. And as I was outside in the market garden getting ready to start prepping for fall, I noticed a problem. So a little bit over a week ago, my family and I, we planted lettuce right here in this bed. And let's just check out and see how they look. So these didn't do really well at all. Most of them pretty much died. And what I think happened was, it was just too much stress on them. And the potting mix that we were using at the time was just too loose, and it really wasn't holding together to help support the root system as they were being transplanted. So the stress on top of being transplanted, the stress on top of the heat, with the stress on top of their root system just being too disturbed too much, I think is what caused them to die. So we're going to try to fix that. So what I'm thinking for the idea that I just mentioned about is adding more clay to our potting mix just to hold it together and make it stickier, because it just was too loose. So I got some compost with clay in it. So clay has its challenges of working with it, but it can be good of holding things together, especially when it's wet. So as you see here, we got some clay that we added some water to. So that will help that root system stay intact a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our transplant lettuce that we're going to transplant here, take it out as best as we can, because as you can see, it's loose. But I'm going to try to protect that root system just a little bit more by casing it right in that clay. So that way when we transplant it, it's a little more protected and can go right in. So we'll give it a shot. So after we packed the roots of our transplants with a potting mix with some clay in it, next I took them out to the market garden to transplant them. I used a dibbler to poke the holes in the soil, so that way I could easily put the transplants right in those holes. But it was at the end of the day, so the sun was going down pretty fast, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get them all in. So I was working, and the sun was going down, and it was getting darker on me, and you know what? I had to keep going, and it was dark. Had my light on top of my hat, and I just kept plugging away at it. putting those plugs in. My goal this year has been to grow greens year-round, but despite this minor setback, we have been successful in doing so. We've been growing kale, we've been growing Swiss chard, we've been growing arugula, we've been growing multiple types of lettuce, mizuna, and like I said, we've been mostly successful in doing that. I have found, however, that two of my favorite lettuces to grow at this time are Muir and Salanova. Four seasons, even though it says the name's four season, it really doesn't work well for us at this time of year. It's just too hot, and the ones that we have been growing have just been bolting right away, so we won't be using that anymore. In my last vlog, I talked about one of the quickest crops that you can grow at this time of year, and you can actually go from seed to harvest in 21 days. So if you haven't checked out that video, make sure you do. And this crop was actually time to pull out. So as I was weed eating around the property, which is one of the challenges in itself at this time of year, is the weeds are just crazy. They grow like crazy at this time of year. Weeds, aka unwanted plants. So as I was weeding around the property, I just took the weed eater right to where that crop was that was finished. And as I was doing that, the kids were pulling out some old lettuce.
Here goes the lettuce plant.
And once again, the kids did an excellent job with helping out in the garden. However, I did have to get on Josiah though. I said, Josiah, I tried to encourage him to be a gentleman, because at first, Selah was the one pulling the wagon full of the plants that were pulled out up to the chickens. I said, Josiah, why don't you be a gentleman and go ahead and do the heavy lifting and pull the wagon up there for Selah. And he did, and he did a great job. All right, this load, I want Josiah, I want you to be a gentleman and take it for Selah this time, okay?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Thank you, Josiah.
And all of us on the farm enjoy sharing our produce with our farm animals, whether it be a harvest that we've cropped out, or whether it be a produce that a bug or something has gotten into, or whether it just be extra produce that we're not going to eat. And as Josiah was doing that, Selah was packing the lettuce into these buckets. And she was like, here Daddy, lift it, see how heavy it is. What are you doing, packing that one down?
Yep.
Wow.
Pick it up, Daddy, see how heavy it is.
Let me give it a shot. Wow, you can do some curls with that, work on those biceps, look at there. Next, I pulled up the irrigation and brought in the Kelvin cultivator from Ford Farm Tech. And let me tell you, this is one of my favorite tools to use on the farm. I don't know what it is, I guess it's being a guy and using flame and using a torch is just cool. Oh yeah, it's cool. And I love using it every time. After that, I moved up to the upper section where the kids had been working. And then I pulled up the hoops that we were using for the shade cloth. Then I came through and raked up the different leaves that had fallen from the lettuce that they were pulling out. After that, I pulled up the landscape fabric that the lettuce was in. And the landscape fabric, that's a whole nother topic to talk about, but it is excellent. But it's always neat to pull it up and look back and peel back and see that nice clean surface of soil. It's just always neat each time we do that. And then once again, I took the weed eater and weeded out the arugula beds. See this grass right here? It is close to going to seed, so it's a good thing that I'm getting it right now, because if it goes to seed and you have seed shooting everywhere, it definitely kind of makes you work doubly hard. It's like almost like you're working against yourself. if you're fighting to keep the unwanted plants, the weed seeds out of your garden, then you let things go to seed and then just spread it all over the place. It's kind of like you're working against yourself. So trying to avoid doing that. And then rake that up, and then brought in the flame weeder, the Kelvin cultivator once again. And as I was doing that, the kids were having a break, and Selah was just enjoying just playing with the bowls. And then, I bet this is the point where you thought we were calling it a day. Well, I let everyone else call it a day, but this was just the beginning of my workout for the day. After that, I brought in the broad forks. I actually brought in both broad forks, the Treadlight broad fork and the broad fork from Ford Farm Tech, and I went to town broad forking the middle beds. And with using the different broad forks, each of them have different hand positions according to the bars that they have. The Treadlight broad fork has the handles on the sides. And then the Ford Farm Tech broad fork has the handles in a T shape. So it's like you're getting almost like a rowing machine, like if you ever use a cardio rowing machine, or rowing a boat. That's the similar method for using that broad fork. But overall, I was getting an excellent back workout for the day. So after using both broad forks for some time now, I really like the Treadlight broad fork, the blades on it, for breaking up the heavy clay. However, I do like the Ford Farm Tech broad fork for it's just lightweight, easy to move around, and you can actually put your body weight into it and it can be easy to use. So I really like using both broad forks.
This is the hour, the darkest place. Dante's Inferno, the devil's maze. It's a good world, good world going bad.
So I knocked out 3 50-foot beds, then moved up to the upper section once again to work on 4 50-foot beds. Broad forking time on double time. Day's almost over with, sun getting close to going down, but I definitely want to get this job done. Right now, it's definitely a workout though. I did 50, 100, 150, 200. We're at 200 feet of garden beds that I've broad forked so far, and I have another 100 feet to go. So that'll be 350 total, but I'm definitely feeling it. Sweating. Whew. Just a little lightheaded. So I hope I don't pass out. But we're gonna get it done. Whew. Hold it together. Whew. Ah, man. I'm not bragging, but I did 250 feet of garden beds with the broad fork, and I have another 150 to go. I mean, another 100 to go. I'm getting delusional. Could you get me some water while I just catch my breath? I want to get this done. So.
Yes, I'll give you some water.
And man, was I beginning to get tired at this point. And it was just like a mere strength of will keeping me going, because I really wanted to get all the broad forking done today, so that way I can move on the next day and not have to worry about doing any more broad forking in these beds. And I kept going and I kept pushing it and I kept working it, and those muscles were feeling it. Almost dark, but it is done. Got them all done. I forgot how much footage this is. I think that's 7 50-foot beds. So it's done. And boy, did it feel good to be finished that day. That was a long day, but you know what? That was just the start of prepping for fall. There's still a lot more that needs to be done out in the garden and to get ready for fall. There's a number of other beds that need to be prepped and so many other things that need to be done. Seed sowed, composting, amendments, and things like that. And you're just gonna have to stay tuned and wait for those vlogs coming up, because work has to be done. And speaking of working out, since I was really hitting it hard, the Homesteading Life Conference is coming up in Hannibal, Missouri in August, and we plan to be there. I'm lined up to be one of the speakers, and one of the talks that I will be giving is on being fit physically and financially on your homestead. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, make sure you do so today. Well, that's it for this vlog. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more farm, garden, prep. See you next time.